"You don't belong here anymore," her mother said. The words rang in Aline's ears like a sentence. Her parents had handed over the apartment, her apartment, the one she had been paying for, to her sister and her husband. That day, Aline severed all ties. No more family, no more support. She was alone. A year passed before they called her again, and when they heard her voice, they froze, stunned to discover that. But before we dive deeper into this story, tell me, where are you listening from? I'd love to know. And now, let's continue. Enjoy the story. Aline felt exhaustion that seemed to seep deep into her bones. Years of relentless work had left their mark. 2 jobs, often without a single day off. That was her routine. Office by day, shifts at a small cafe by night. All for one purpose: to pay off the mortgage for the apartment her parents had promised to give her, on the condition she paid it off in full. She poured every ounce of strength into that dream, imagining the day she'd make the final payment and just maybe finally catch her breath. Aline believed her sacrifices weren't in vain. She believed her family understood her struggle, that they appreciated her. She believed they were on her side. That evening, Aline stopped by the grocery store after work. She picked up ingredients for dinner and made her way to her parents' apartment. Climbing the stairs, she felt a quiet joy, the comfort of family, the warmth of home. But as soon as she stepped inside, something felt off. The air was tense. Her parents sat at the table with somber faces. Her sister, Olivia, and Olivia's husband, Andrew, were also there. The usually lively and loud apartment now felt frozen, heavy with something unspoken. "Aline, we need to talk," her mother, Linda, began. Her voice was cold, unfamiliar. Aline paused. Her instincts stirred. She set her bags down and sat at the table. "What's going on?" she asked, a flicker of worry in her chest. Her father, Peter, let out a long sigh and avoided her gaze. "We've made a decision," he said. Her heart began to race. "What decision?" she asked, trying to stay calm. Linda reached for her hand. "Aline, you're a good daughter. You've done so much for us." But Aline could already hear the false comfort in her tone. "But," she prompted. Linda lowered her eyes. "We've given the apartment to Olivia," she said, her voice trembling. Time froze. Aline thought she must have misheard. "What do you mean?" she asked, disbelief widening her eyes. "The apartment now belongs to Olivia and Andrew. They're a young family," Peter added, as if that justified everything. Aline's world collapsed in a single instant. Every hope, every dream, every sacrifice shattered. She stared at her parents, at her sister, at the man who now held what she had bled for. "But I paid the mortgage. I worked myself into the ground. How could you do this to me?" she cried, her voice shaking with betrayal. Olivia looked away. Andrew said nothing. Linda tried to speak, but Aline cut her off. "I don't understand. I thought we were family. I thought you valued what I was doing." Her tears spilled freely now. "Aline, please, don't," Linda began, but Aline was already on her feet. "Don't what? Don't scream at the people who stabbed me in the back." She ran to her room, grabbing a suitcase. Her hands trembled, her vision blurred with tears. She had no plan, no destination. All she had were a few belongings and a tiny bit of savings. The rest had been taken from her. Her parents followed her. "Maybe we can figure something out," Linda said, guilt lacing her words. "What's left to figure out? You made your choice. You gave away my home. You betrayed me," Aline said without looking at them. "We thought it was best for everyone," Peter added weakly. "Best for whom? For Olivia? For Andrew? What about me? Did you ever think about me?" Her voice cracked under the weight of her grief. Silence, the kind that screams louder than words. She zipped up her bag, walked to the door. "Goodbye," she said, not turning back. "Aline," Wait, Linda called out. But Aline was already gone. She walked out of that apartment, out of that chapter of her life, and with it, the last fragile thread that tied her to that family snapped. The city felt colder than ever. She had nowhere to go, nothing but pain and confusion. She kept walking, lost in thought, until she reached a bus stop. She sat, buried her face in her hands, and tried not to drown in despair. She knew she had to act fast. With the help of Maria, her loyal friend, Aline found a tiny room on the outskirts of the city. More a box than a home, but it was something. Peeling walls, a creaky bed, and the persistent smell of damp. That was her new reality. But Aline didn't give up. She was used to hardship. What wounded her deeper than poverty was the betrayal. The silence from her family echoed louder than any empty stomach. She looked for a third job, but nothing came through. Just as she was about to give up, a small ad in the local newspaper caught her eye. Dishwasher needed, night shift, small cafe. The pay was low, the hours brutal, but it was a chance. And Aline clung to it like a lifeline. Her days blurred together, mornings in the office, evenings at the cafe, nights washing dishes. Her body was barely holding up. She walked everywhere to save money, ate the cheapest food. She had nothing but her willpower. Then, one morning after her night shift, Aline collapsed on the sidewalk with a sharp pain in her abdomen. People passed her by. Some glanced, none stopped. Darkness crept into her vision. And then, someone did stop. A hand reached out, a familiar voice. "Aline, are you okay?" It was Daniel, a former co-worker from the office. He had always been kind, soft-spoken. He knelt beside her, worry in his eyes. Aline could barely lift her head. Through clenched teeth and blurred vision, she told him everything. The betrayal, the loss, the endless work. Daniel listened, not interrupting, not judging, just being there. "I had no idea," he said gently. "You didn't deserve any of that." He helped her to her feet, took her to her tiny room, made her tea, and convinced her to rest. "Listen," he said quietly when she had calmed. "I run a small auto shop. Nothing fancy, but I need help. It's not glamorous, but the pay's decent and the schedule's flexible. You can still keep your other job if you want." Aline was stunned. She had stopped expecting kindness from anyone. "I don't even know what to say. Thank you, Daniel." "You don't have to thank me," he smiled. "I just want to see you back on your feet. You're stronger than you think." And so began a new chapter. Aline left her underpaid office job and joined Daniel at the shop. It was tough work, but fascinating. She learned fast, changing oil, speaking to customers, balancing books. Daniel taught her everything. He believed in her even when she didn't. They spent hours together, fixing cars, sharing late dinners, talking about everything and nothing, laughing, dreaming. And slowly, Aline began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. One evening, after a long walk through a quiet park, Daniel stopped and took her hand. "Aline," he said softly, "you've become someone I deeply care about. I admire your strength, your resilience. I love you." She froze. 1,000 fears screamed inside her. But beneath them, something else stirred. I love you too," she whispered, looking down. Daniel wrapped her in his arms, and for the first time in years, Aline felt truly safe. He hadn't just given her a job, he had given her back herself. As the days passed, he encouraged her more and more. "You've got talent, Aline. You've always loved baking. Remember those cakes you used to bring to the office birthdays? Everyone loved them." She smiled, dusting flour from her apron one day, listening to him. "What if," he continued, hesitating, "what if we open a cafe together? Small, cozy, Just yours and mine. You bake. I handle logistics. We can build something real." Aline's heart skipped. "A cafe?" she whispered. She hadn't dared to dream in so long. "But I don't know anything about business." "We'll learn," he said, eyes bright. "Together." And so they began. They searched for the perfect spot, read books, drafted menus, argued over paint colors. Slowly, dream by dream, they built their little cafe. Haven, they named it, because that's what they wanted it to be, for others and for themselves. Renovations took months. The building had once been an old bakery, its bones still warm with forgotten memories. Daniel did what he could alongside the workers. Aline tested recipes day and night. She wanted everything to feel like home, every pie, every mug of coffee, every corner of their tiny dream. And then, the grand opening. Aline stood behind the counter in a crisp apron, heart pounding like it was her first day at school. The first customers trickled in, quiet at first. But soon, word spread. Through neighbors, friends, whispers of, "Have you tried that little place on the corner?" Slowly but surely, Haven filled with life. People came for the flaky pastries but stayed for the warmth, the way Aline smiled when she placed your coffee down, the way Daniel always remembered your name. It wasn't just a cafe, it was healing. Aline had never been happier. For the first time, she wasn't surviving, she was living. Daniel watched her bloom. Day by day, her confidence grew. Her laughter came more easily. She no longer hid behind fear. Together, they hired more help, added tables, even extended the hours. Their dream cafe was becoming a community gem. And yet, just as Aline was learning to breathe again, the past knocked on her door. She was kneading dough one morning when her phone rang. An unknown number. She hesitated. Something told her this call mattered. She answered. "Aline," a broken voice said. "It's Mom." Her heart dropped. It had been over a year. Not a single word. Not a text. And now this. "What happened?" she asked, her voice steady though her soul shook. "Aline, sweet girl, it's bad. We need your help, please." Her mother sobbed. Aline stood frozen. A storm of emotion swirled inside her. Rage, grief, confusion. "After everything? After what you did to me?" Her voice cracked. "I know," her mother wept. "We were wrong. We made a horrible mistake. But we've lost everything. Olivia and Andrew, they lost the apartment." Aline blinked. "What do you mean, lost it?" Her mother stumbled through the story. Debts, shady deals, reckless loans. Olivia had mortgaged the apartment trying to save Andrew. It wasn't enough. The creditors took it all. "And now, we have nowhere to go," her mother said through tears. "We're asking, begging. Just a roof over our heads for a little while." Aline was silent. A younger version of herself would have said yes without question. But this Aline, this woman who had rebuilt her life brick by brick, she paused. She had everything to lose. "I don't know, Mom. I need time." "Please," her mother whispered. "We're desperate. We'll do anything. We're sorry." Aline hung up, slowly, gently, like placing a rose on a grave. She sat in silence. Daniel walked in, concern on his face. "Who was it?" he asked. She told him everything. When she finished, he took her hand. "Aline, you owe them nothing. They broke you. You don't have to let them do it again." "I know," she said softly, "but they're still my family. Number. We're your family now. Me, this place, the life you built. You deserve peace. You deserve joy." Aline nodded, tears threatening again. "I'll call her tomorrow," she whispered. The next morning, Aline woke with a heavy heart. She brewed coffee, prepared breakfast for herself and Daniel, and sat down with the phone in her hand. Her fingers trembled slightly as she dialed. Her mother picked up almost instantly. "Aline, thank God. Have you thought about it? Will you help us?" Aline took a deep breath. "Yes, I've thought about it. And I can't help you." Silence. Then a fragile, breathless whisper. "What?" "I'm sorry, Mom, but I won't give up my life again. I've been through too much. I deserve to protect my peace. I forgive you, but I won't sacrifice myself for you." Her mother gasped. "But where will we go? What will we do?" "That's not my burden to carry," Aline said gently but firmly. "You made choices. Now you have to live with them." A broken sob came through the line. "You've changed, Aline. You're so cold now." "No," Aline replied softly. "I'm not cold. I'm just finally warm enough to stop freezing for everyone else." She ended the call, and as she did, the weight she'd carried for so long finally lifted. She had stood her ground, protected the life she had fought to build. Daniel stepped behind her and wrapped his arms around her. "I'm proud of you," he whispered. "You did the right thing." Aline leaned into him, her eyes closing as relief washed over her. "It's over," she said. "No," Daniel replied, kissing her forehead. "It's just beginning." From that moment on, Aline no longer looked back. Her past had shaped her, yes, but it would never define her again. She had her cafe. She had Daniel. She had herself. And for the first time in her life, that was more than enough. She stirred cherry filling into fresh dough, sunlight spilling across the counters. Her cafe was alive with the laughter of regulars, the clinking of mugs, and the rich scent of espresso and cinnamon. She smiled, her hands dusted with flour, her heart light. Because she was free. Because she was whole. Because every struggle, every tear, every lonely night had led her here. And maybe, just maybe, this is where you start again too. Maybe this story isn't just hers. Maybe it's yours. Maybe you've been carrying burdens that don't belong to you. Maybe it's time you chose yourself. Time to reclaim your energy, your body, your joy. Because right now, there's something waiting for you in the video description. Something remarkable. A strange purple shell, recently discovered by researchers, may hold the key to transforming how your body burns fat, even while you sleep. No strict diets, no brutal workouts, just one natural breakthrough that could reignite your confidence and give you back the control you've been searching for. So when you're ready, go to the video description. Your story of change might begin there. Because like Aline, you deserve to be the author of your own future. And this could be your first page.